This is Kunming Haiphong Railway. Yunnan Haiphong Railway includes two parts, the Kunming-Hekou section in China and Lao Cai Hanoi Haiphong section in Vietnam. For over 100 years, this railway has been a bridge to connect China with Vietnam. Perhaps you've seen it if you visited Kunming or Hanoi, but maybe you don't know how this railway changed the history of the two countries, especially how it created two new cities at the borderland. This border town in Vietnam is called Lao Cai. Across the river is its neighbor in China, Hekou. Hekou in Chinese means confluence. Here it refers to the place where the Yangtze River flows into the Red River. In 1886, France and Imperial China drew a line on the rivers as the border of Tonkin and China. They set up military camps and executive government to strengthen the border control. Before that, the people in the area lived more like one community, especially under the governance of Liu Yongfu, the Chinese commander of the Black Flag Army. Over the past century, Hekou and Lao Cai have grown to be the biggest ports on the Yunnan-Vietnamese border because of this railway. The railway plan of infiltrating southwest China came much earlier than the 1885 Sino-French War. Railway represented an important power in modern times. The colonial countries infiltrated China by building transnational railways connecting their colonial hinterland from the Chinese border. The early expeditions in the 1860s excluded the Mekong River road. Instead, the Red River became the focus of a commercial entrance into China. This route was the precedent of Kunming Haiphong Railway. Finally, France achieved the construction right to build the railways in the territory of China through the 1895 Triple Intervention. During the time, France regarded large-scale investment activities on railway infrastructure as a national policy. In 1899, Banque de l'Indochine and other three French banks associated with Société de Construction Batignolles to form la Compagnie Française de Chemin de Fer de l'Indochine et de Yunnan. Batignolles undertook some large railway projects, such as the lines in Algeria, Senegal, and other French colonies. They carry out scientific surveys to determine an accurate route. Their products include the design and construction methods of railway, tunnels, bridges, stations, locomotives, and so on. All the metal components were fabricated in France, exported to Haiphong, and transported to the border by railway. Therefore, Lao Cai had become a hub during the construction period. A large warehouse was built on the outskirts of the town to store these components, facilities, cement, and explosives. Every single piece of this bridge is made in France, and to make it easy to transport, the load of each piece should be a maximum of 80 kilos for mules to carry, or a maximum of 100 kilos for four men being able to transport slowly and painfully. The metal pieces were 1.2 to 1.5 meters in width, and their length had to be limited to 2.5 meters. The railway line was initially launched in 1910. All the buildings and businesses were surrounding the railway bridge. Tin and opium passed the border and exported to France. Mineral oils and other commodities were imported to Yunnan. Passenger transport was also busy on this line. Two major groups of people would stop by the border towns. The first were the tourists from Europe. They would stay overnight in a French hotel and head to a small mountain village near Lao Cai, known as Sapa, by this kind of automobile. Sapa was the best place in French Indochina to escape the heat, and the village was built as the house resort for officers and other tourists. The other passengers were mainly the Chinese went to Yunnan. These passengers arrive at the evenings and stay one night in local hotels opened by Cantonese in Lao Cai, such as New Asia Hotel, which was a chain-branded hotel first opened in Canton. But the sanitary condition was not so satisfactory, unlike how it was highly appraised by the celebrities in Shanghai. Notably, on the other side of the river, modern railway knowledge greatly influenced the people's mind and the urban pattern. The buildings in Hekou were not in good condition and were flooded by the rivers every year. After the serious flood in 1909 ruined 200 residents in Hekou, a local Chinese government decided to ask a railway company for their topographic maps and hydrological data of Hekou. He designed a new plan based on these materials. Hekou has never been bothered again by floods since then. This great plan remains today. It seems to be a best legacy of the railway. What also have been remained today were the interactions between the two towns. Every morning we could see people packaging goods on the street next to the port using this kind of modified bicycles. The goods were mostly small commodities, such as toys and small household appliances, also food. They will pass a special checkpoint for border residents, walk across a new border bridge, enter Yunnan, and finally unload the commodities at a distribution center along the river. This is a parking lot next to the center. You see hundreds of the special bags parking here, while the goods go into all kinds of wholesale markets in Lao Cai and keep on their journey. Hold on a second. Where is the railway? What we just have seen were the new border gates and bridge. They are to the west of the old railway bridge. They have become the major pedestrian passage between the two cities. The original customs has become a historic building exhibiting some stories once happened here. The twin cities built a new port on the outskirts of the city core. Only for freight, the main railway trade transportation was replaced by highway. Moreover, a new railroad from Kunming to Hekou, operated in 2014, took over the burden of passenger transport for safety reasons and higher efficiency. What's happening in Lao Cai? We hardly know the old railway station or any story jigsaws, except the rails. People worship their country by making offerings next to the border gate. Life goes on cheerfully in this border town with all the border trees in between. Kunming Haiphong Railway seems to be an awkward existence today. The middle gauge railway would give its way to new infrastructure. Some parts of it would actively join local tourism and become the background of cultural consumption during the weekends and holidays. In these narratives, maybe we want to avoid the part how the French schemed this railway plan and took over our territories, as well as the part how this huge project was carefully designed and completed in mountains, and how the urban-rural landscape was changed because of the railway. Shouldn't we put together these puzzle pieces and look at the history as a whole picture objectively? After all, it is far more than colonial history or history of humiliation.